And when he announced the results, and then it was, I heard that I didn't pass. Those 30 minutes were one of the most stressful 30 minutes of my life, and I didn't want to talk to anyone and to the traffic inspector, and I was just focused on my driving. Then I was asked to park the car between two cars because it was snow, so there was no markings were not seen, so that's why I had to park my vehicle between two cars. Then I had some bit of country driving and a bit. Hello everyone, so today I'm going to share my experience about obtaining Swedish driving license and what happened with me and what way did I choose to get my Swedish driving license. It is what I'm going to discuss today or talk about is just what I feel about it, and it's completely my opinion, and there is there is no rules or anything. As all of you know, that Swedish driving license is very difficult, and it's one of the most stressful things that you may face during your stay in Sweden. Not only stressful, but it's the most expensive card that you would have ever obtained in your life. So yeah, basically when I chose to take my driving license, I had absolutely zero background of driving. I had never driven a car, or I had no practical knowledge about it. But due to that, I chose to take all my classes from a driving school, which I found out had the best reviews, and also and got recommendations from my friends that it was a good school, and I chose the school. Then I was a bit confused if I should take automatic or if I should take manual driving license, but then I did a bit of a research, and I realized that I would go for automatic because it would be cheaper, plus all the future cars coming that are going to be automatic, so it's no point wasting my money to learn manual driving license at that point. I took as many of you already know that it's very expensive. It's very expensive to get driving lessons. It was the same for me. I had booked all the lessons from the driving school, as I mentioned before, and then it was very expensive. I took more than 55 lessons from the driving school. It was very stressful, and it was the beginning of COVID first wave, so it was very difficult to find booking times, and it was very stressful with all the COVID restrictions and time to find a slot and everything. It was a mess at that point, which added up to my stress even more. It took me almost a year to get my driving license, partly because I want to take it easy at the beginning, and also secondly it was also COVID, so both added up to 1 year. And most important, and one of the most important thing that I noticed was that during my initial lessons I was getting tired after 20 minutes of driving. So I would suggest all the new people not to hurry up during the first few months, because you might not have that stamina to sit in front of the steering wheel and drive for more than 30 minutes. I used to start feeling completely lost after 30 minutes of driving. So it might be different for different for different people, but for me it was very hectic in the beginning. Yeah, so also with also I chose to take risk one in the beginning of my driving license process, but I took risk two just before my theory exam because I wanted to be completely confident with my driving, and then I took the risk two. I didn't want to rush with it because it is one of the very critical thing that we all need to face in our day-to-day practical driving as well. I mean, especially when it is snowy road and icy road. So yeah, so I chose to take my risk two at the end of my driving process or just before my theory. As you know, there are different parts of the driving. So first is to know to know how to adjust the seat belt, how to adjust the seat, and how to so that was the first part, and then it comes different parts of actual driving, that is city driving, country driving, highway driving, etc., etc. For me, I think city driving is the most difficult part because it's a lot of cars in the city, it's a lot of pedestrians, it's a lot of buses, it's school kids crossing the road, it's old people crossing the road, it's cyclists everywhere. So it is the most tough thing because we have to be very alert and we have to be doing multitasking all the time when we are doing city driving. Then I think country road, of course, country road is the left turn is very difficult and we have to maintain high speed all the time, and we have to turn, and left turn is one of the most common cause of accidents in Sweden. But for me, I think city driving was more tricky compared to country road, and I did motorway at the end. We also have to be very alert when you are doing motorway driving because the car is at 120, and when you are changing lanes or when there is trucks and when there are other big vehicles, so we have to be very careful. So it's good to drive in the motorway only when you are confident with the car, with the driving rules and everything. Otherwise, it's no point, or it can be, I would say it can be life-threatening. You are putting yourself at risk and many other drivers on the motorway because the speed is very high. And I passed my theory. Until I started reading for theory, I didn't realize that it is like a very difficult exam. So I read the book thoroughly and followed some apps and did the most probable questions for my theory test, and I cleared in first attempt. But I read the book 2 times from A to Z, everything. So I cleared theory in my first attempt. It was very stressful because the time is just 60 minutes and you have to answer 70 questions, and some questions are very tricky, so we have to be completely thorough with the book for theory exam. The final road test I took was in winter, so it was snowy roads and the roads were not seen completely, and then it was even there's different lanes was hard to see, and I took my driving test in winter. So it was, those 30 minutes were one of the most stressful 30 minutes of my life, and I didn't want to talk to anyone and to the traffic inspector, and I was just focused on my driving. Then I was asked to park the car between 2 cars because it was snow, so there was no markings were not seen, so that's why I had to park my vehicle between 2 cars. Then I had some bit of country driving and a bit of city driving and right-hand rules and etc., but I didn't drive on the motorway. Yeah, and and when he announced the results, and then it was, I heard that I didn't pass, but then when he said congratulations, that's the time I realized that I passed the test, and it was a very happy moment and a proud moment for me after many many months or 1 year, I would say, that I finally cracked the Swedish driving license. Even after getting the driving license, I'm still very cautious with my driving. I still try to follow all the rules, and I still try to do everything according to the rules and regulation. So finally, I would like to say that don't give up, keep trying hard, and try to read the book thoroughly, try to follow the driving instructors classes carefully, and then I'm sure you will crack it one day. It is tough, but it is not impossible. Thank you.